Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video, and we're talking about the Golden State Warriors and the Boston Celtics NBA Finals Game 2. I wrote down some notes because I wanted to get my numbers right for a change. I wanted to actually be accurate. Um, the Boston Celtics scoring issues are real, and we saw them play great in the first game, obviously dropping 120 points, but in this particular game, they only dropped 88. You cannot have a situation where you only have three people attempting the majority of your shots if you're the Boston Celtics. The reason why you had so much success in that first game is because regardless of what was going on with the score, all of your team contributed together. You got 33 assists out of the last game, all kinds of good going on with yourself in terms of taking care of the rock and shooting, the ball well. You got a whole lot of the opposite today. And so that's where we start. The Boston Celtics, they just could not get anything going in the third quarter. That's the bottom line. The Golden State Warriors came out of that second quarter, same out of the half time locker room with an intent on just basically bringing it to them defensively and keeping them from scoring the basketball as much as humanly possible. And we saw them have a good time doing that. It really comes down to this. The Boston Celtics with 30 for 80 from the field goal, so that gives them 37%. With the Golden State Warriors having shot 45%. So Boston 30 for 80. That's just not going to cut it, man. You missed in 50 shots. 50 shots on the road. It just can't happen. You look at the 3-point line, and both teams shot pretty good from behind the arc. In fact, they were identical, 15 to 37, 40%. Both teams shot decent from the line, 76% and 70% respectively, both Boston and Golden State there. The boards, they did all right, 43 to 42, so you like that. Both teams kept up with one another. And that category, offensive rebound, same thing, 6 apiece. So you can clearly see the emphasis on the boards was definitely felt on both sides. But this is where things fall off for the Boston Celtics. Golden State Warriors had 25 assists. Okay. Boston Celtics had 24 assists. Now, what do we say about the last game? 33 assists in the game where they won, 24 assists in the game where they lost. They need to get back to getting the ball around and having it popping and doing things that work. Because simply put, they did not do those things tonight. The blocks, 7 to 2. Boston's favorites, you like that if you're them. Turnovers, 19 to 12. Now, see, that's another thing. Golden State, we know they turn the ball over. I actually think 12 turnovers for them is what you want. If you're them, you're pretty good with that. 19 for the Celtics? No, friends. That's not going to get it done. You're just talking about allowing for the Golden State Warriors to have success defensively against you. It's that simple. You play right into their hands when you turn the ball over as much as they did. And, of course, you give credit to the Golden State Warriors for forcing as many steals. But, I mean, it's just not going to cut it if you're the Boston Celtics. Points off turnovers, 33 points the Boston Celtics gave up off of turnovers. 33 points in transition. You're not beating anybody that way. Fast break points, both teams 12 and 13 respectively. Boston Celtics got the slight edge there. Points in the paint, 24 for Boston, 40 for the Golden State Warriors. Again, we talked a great deal about the Golden State Warriors' way of winning basketball games in these playoffs, and it's been rebounding the ball and interior scoring. Even though they can shoot the three, and we know that they shoot the three very well, we also understand that in the games that they've won, they've taken their pound of flesh on the inside. Now, the Boston Celtics did a fantastic job in that first game of keeping the Golden State Warriors out of the paint. This game, that was not the case. 40 points in the paint for the Golden State Warriors. I'm sorry. I know Robert Williams, his health isn't really where it needs to be. He didn't look very good tonight, as most of the pundits were repeatedly saying he wasn't looking great. I thought he looked okay. I mean, he was blocking shots, but you just can't have a situation where they have 40 points in the paint. That's going to be on him, Al Horford, Daniel Tice, and the others to shore that up, and I just did not see enough of that tonight. I'm going to tell you the truth. Boston Celtics look tired to me. They look tired. In that first half, they looked okay. I didn't think they were playing too bad. But when they came out of that locker room, they looked about 2 or 3 steps slow. And I know they've been through some serious battles. You know what I mean? It's 2 7-game series in a row. That first series against KD and the Nets. They haven't had an easy road. And I just think that tonight, you might have actually seen them hit a real fatigue wall. You might have actually finally seen the Boston Celtics just get tired, and they've done a good job of withstanding fatigue. They've done a fantastic job of playing through injury. But you had to understand that all that was going to catch up to them at some point. And I think tonight was that point. You just saw it. They didn't have anything. From man to man to man to man, the Celtics had nothing in that third quarter. I think they scored maybe 13 points. And they look exhausted to me, truthfully. Everybody looked exhausted. So I've been following them as closely as anybody in these playoffs, and I know exactly what they've been putting their bodies through. And this is not surprising. They are a young team, but boy, have they been battling. So that's what we saw. I honestly believe it just came down to them just not having a whole lot in the gas tank. Guys didn't even attempt a lot of shots. As I said, 3 guys attempted more than 15 shots. Other than that, you have guys attempting barely anything for most of the Celtics. I mean, we're talking about Jason Tatum having an 8 for 19 game, which was really good. Most of that was done in the first half. 6 of 9 3-point shots. You love that for him. Not enough assists, though. 3 assists, 4 turnovers. You got more turnovers than assists, JT Money. That's a good reason. That's a good way to get a loss there for yourself. Al Horford, 1 for 4. He just looked tired tonight, man. Looked tired. Robert Williams, as we said, he had 2 blocks rather than 3. 2 points, 2 boards. See, 2 boards? I can't do nothing with that, Robert. I need more rebounds. Marcus Smart did not have it tonight. He did not have it tonight. He had 5 assists. He was 0 for 3 from 3. 5 turnovers. 2 points. Marcus Smart had a no-show. The Boston Celtics can't win without him. Can't win without him. If he's neutralized, there's nothing they can do. They're not gonna be able to score enough points if he's not being the same Marcus Smart he's been over these last couple of series. They can't win like this. He's got to be able to play well. He looked exhausted tonight. Jaylen Brown, 5 of 17. Continuing to drive, but the inefficiency is real. I think they're doing a good job against him. 3 of 9 from the 3. Maybe not attempt so many 3-point shots. Maybe continue to drive at the rim. 6 rebounds, that's okay. 3 assists, not enough. I need more from Jaylen Brown in this series. He gave me a good fourth quarter in the last game. In fact, a great fourth quarter in the last game. But he didn't play as great as first half of that last game, and he didn't play very good tonight's game. So what does that tell me? He's had 1 really good quarter in the series through 2 games. That is something I'm paying attention to, especially with GP2 coming back. Jaylen Brown's driving at the rim repeatedly is going to be affected by the presence of GP2. As long as GP2 is 100% healthy, that's going to be a problem. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a problem because Andrew Wiggins already gave him enough trouble. But now you throw GP2 in there, although Porter's down there running with him. They did a good job on him tonight. They did a really good job on him tonight. So, let's see. You want to talk about Grant Williams? 2 for 2. I love that he hit both his shots, but again, his inconsistency scoring the ball to me is a systematic thing. He has some of the strongest legs on the Boston Celtics. I trust him to hit threes more so than I trust some of the other players to hit threes. I would utilize that 3-point shot. I would utilize it. He's won a whole series. He beat an NBA champion shooting that damn 3. He has to attempt it more. It's not like his legs are getting tired. That's my point. When you talk about shooters and how much they give you on the defensive end and how much it can affect their shot, he's one of those guys where I don't even really think that affects him because he's so powerful. He can go down there and play the best defense in the world and then hit 7 threes. You got to utilize that, coach. Grant Williams can score. But if you don't ask him to shoot, he's not going to. And rebounding, look, I have talked about this with the Boston Celtics. And like I said, I love what they've done on the boards as a team in these 2 games. So I don't want to point out rebounding and say the team ain't rebounding well. But their bigs aren't rebounding as well as they need to. Grant Williams, Robert Williams, again. How many rebounds Robert Williams give me? 2 boards. How many rebounds did Grant Williams give me? 1 rebound. 3 rebounds between the 2 Williams in the finals? I'm telling you, there's a lot going to be said about the Boston Celtics not being able to score the ball. It's going to be a lot going to be said about the Golden State Warriors forcing turnovers tonight. Whole lot of steals, forced defense. But at the end of the day, you got to beat the Warriors on the boards, Boston. You got to beat them on the boards. You can't tie them on the boards and expect to have success. You got away with that in the first game with 39 boards. They got 39 boards. Tonight, you won the rebound and edge by 1, but only got 3 rebounds out of your main bigs. That cannot happen. I can't stress it enough. It can't happen. It cannot happen. Simple as that. Y'all don't score enough to allow them to have a normal amount of second chance points and possessions off of the glass. It's too much bricking going on out there for a good shooting team like the Golden State Warriors, who are not going to have any issues scoring the ball in theory, especially if given extra possessions. You have got to win the rebound total by more than 1 point, and you have got to get more boards out of your bigs, or it's not going to work, Boston. It ain't going to work. Okay. So, again, 19 turnovers, 33 points off those turnovers. That is the meat and potatoes of what went wrong there for those Celtics. 40 points in the paint. There you go. You know, the Golden State Warriors took advantage of the home court. If you're rooting for them, you really appreciate what you saw out of everybody ultimately on the defensive end, particularly Kevon Looney stepping up, playing better tonight. 6 of 6, 12 points, 7 rebounds. Played big. 50-50 balls, tips and stuff like that. You love what you saw. You know what I mean? Draymond Green, 9, 7, and 5. Better game. You saw him try to take the ball to the rim, get a couple extra layups. Those were good things. You also saw a lot of missed layups by the Boston Celtics. Just a lot of missed layups for both teams, actually, now I think about it. Yeah, kind of strange. First half was a little strange in that regard. Klay Thompson. You know, the Golden State Warriors won this game. So you're not going to sit up here and just bash Klay Thompson. But if for some reason the Golden State Warriors didn't win this game, we're talking about Klay Thompson in a very negative light. 4 for 19. He was bricking in the regular minutes, and he was bricking in garbage time when Steve Kerr left him out there to get hot. It just is not happening for Klay Thompson. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to think. They're just lucky he won. And if you're the Boston Celtics, you kind of feel the way about this game that the Golden State Warriors felt about game 1 in regards to you lose a game where Jason Tatum didn't play well at all. Well, if you're the Celtics, you lost a game where Klay Thompson couldn't score at all. He was awful. So that's something that's going to be said there. So yeah, I just can't do nothing with 4 and 19, 1 of 8 threes, dude. 1 of 8 threes. And the thing about Klay is some of his shot selection was horrible. If you're going to struggle, that's cool. But you're going to force yourself into struggling if you're taking contested shots that are early in the shot clock, mid-range jump shots, or like with 19 seconds of shot clock. Stuff like that. Klay's shot selection was not good. It just was not good. And I know he's got the green light to shoot at all times because of his skill set and how he is. But when he's not himself, like he isn't right now, he needs to take better shots. You know what I'm saying? You have to take smarter shots when you're not hitting shots regularly, period. Old Klay Thompson, who hits everything, he can attempt bad shots. Klay Thompson right now in the finals, who's slumping, has to be smarter about shot selection. It's not on the coaches. It's not on your teammates. It's not on nobody else, man. You a Hall of Famer. It's the finals. If you don't want to regret what happens here, you have to be smarter about your shot selection, sir. It's that simple. It's not about teaching nobody nothing. You know who you are. You know what you have to do. You got to play better. And if you don't, it's going to be the Celtics winning the series. Simple as that. I don't think you can have too many more games where he's 4 for 19 and you win. You better be lucky. You're lucky this game was in your house. Pool party. Look, man, Jordan Poole came back with a real vengeance tonight. Did good things. 17 points, 6 of 14 from the field, 5 for 9 from the 3. So basically, it was all about that 3-point shot falling for him. If you guys saw the game, he hit a huge half-court basically shot at the buzzer, just completely and utterly smooth, all kinds of confidence. That's what you needed to see, because you know for a fact, if he didn't have a good game tonight, he wasn't going to start playing well in Boston. He needed to see that ball fall tonight. He did. It's a lot to celebrate in regards to him. I like his trajectory going forward in this series. And most importantly, the Boston Celtics better do a better job of guarding him, because if he starts feeling like Jordan Poole of the regular season, this is not good for the Celtics. That's a scoring punch that they don't really have too many answers for on most nights. So here's the deal. The Golden State Warriors defense really did a lot for them tonight, forcing those turnovers, getting those points in the paint, and ultimately making sure that they just close out, do a better job of closing out and keeping the Boston Celtics from feeling comfortable about shooting on this floor. You know that the Boston Celtics have scoring droughts, but you also know that the Boston Celtics can go on scoring runs. And what we saw was just the worst of the Boston Celtics offense tonight. I don't know if I want to give all the credit to the Golden State Warrior defense, because to be honest with you, what I saw was a whole lot of fatigue that kind of played right into that, especially in that second half. Player movement wasn't as strong on the Boston side of things. They just kind of slowed down and started standing around a little more, and that plays right into Golden State's hand. Would you do that? And I just really do think a lot of what went wrong was fatigue. I thought Ime Udoka was a bit off his game tonight. He looked a little tired to me in terms of, he was really cussing out the referee at one point. You can just see the frustration, and it seemed like it was unnecessary frustration to me, to be honest with you. I know you're down in the game, but you're up in the series. I know you're struggling in the game, but you also know you have some advantages. So I just felt like fatigue kind of took the Boston Celtics out of the game mentally, to be honest with you. And I think this next couple of days will be good for them. Obviously, it's a strenuous process because they got to get on the flight, and then the whole process of having media day the next day. But I think the rest for this team particularly is very important. So home cooking is what they need, and they'll get it. Simple as that. So, looking at these numbers, man, let's see. All in all, you want to give credit to Andrew Wiggins as well. 11, 6, and 2. He had a very good game tonight. Defensively, particularly, I love what I saw from him. Keeping his arms up, staying with people. Him on the defensive end against Jaylen Brown. Him on the defensive end against Jason Tatum. All very good stuff. His closeout on Jason Tatum's 3, one particular play tonight, awesome. You just want to continue to see Andrew Wiggins play with that type of confidence defensively and offensively. If the shot's falling, you're happy. If not, you'll live with it because you know he's going to drive at the rim, and you know he's going to play defense, and you know he's going to rebound the ball. So I really like what I saw from him. So that's what's up. That is what's up, man. Steph Curry had a really good night tonight again. You just love the haymakers he continues to shoot. The defensive sequences you saw tonight, he had a really good defensive sequence against Peyton Pritchard tonight where he sat down in that chair and kept that boy from scoring. Used his body and his arms well. You just see the improvement there. Jordan Poole making some plays out there, making assists, things like that. Same with Kevon Looney. Both of those guys helped themselves and their teams a lot, passing the ball. Smart way to play. And I just like how Draymond Green bounced back from that game he had in game 1. 2 of 12. He was awful in that first game. Tonight he came back, played a little more like himself, took the easy layup plays, and did not shy away from attempting the 3. Now, did it brick horribly? Yes, it bricked horribly. But I need him to let that happen. I need him to let that happen because you want the Golden State Warriors to at least flash at him. You want them to react to him shooting. That's a plus for you. It's more important that they have to consider him shooting rather than it is for him to actually hit the shot, because he's such a non-threat shooting the ball, and that was such an issue for them in that first game. And it's been an issue for them throughout these playoffs because they literally run plays where they'll have him at the top of the key, free to shoot a 3, and he will not even look at the rim. And that, my friends, makes life so easy on a very, very good defensive team in the Boston Celtics. So him attempting the 3-point shot, even though it clanked, at least they know that, hey, if he's out there, he's not just going to keep his head down looking for the pass all the time. He may flash, and if he flashes a shot up, either it's going to fall or it's not. But the point is, you have an opportunity of having 3-point shots go up rather than no threat. And this is why you want Ben Simmons to heed this and feel this way too. Draymond clanked that 3 hard and nasty, but it was good for basketball because of what we just described there. It was good that he took that shot and it clanked because at least they know that space that he occupies is a threat. It's a threat. Even if it's a 10% threat, you could get shot down if you leave me there. I'm not just going to put my head down. So that is so important. Keep shooting. I don't give a damn if you airball. Keep shooting. Make it a percentage of a threat. So that's pretty much what I got, man. I don't really think this game gives you too much to think about because it was a whole quarter of garbage time. And the third quarter, as I said, the Boston Celtics couldn't get nothing going at all. They had nothing, and they looked tired, and that was it. So basically all I really took from it was a first half where the Golden State Warriors imposed their will defensively, forcing turnovers, making the steals category the key of emphasis for themselves. And, you know, when defense is the focal point against a really good defensive team, then it just becomes who can score against whom. And in this situation, you like the Golden State Warriors because you know the Golden State Warriors have more lethal and more plentiful offensive weapons all over the floor. So that's the key. Golden State, play defense like you did tonight in Boston. Rebound the ball like you've continued to. Try to win the rebounding total against these Boston Celtics team. This Boston Celtics team who is intent on keeping up with you there. And for Boston, I want to see Derek White get back involved. He's had a really good couple of games, but this was a bad one for him. And they can't afford him to have off nights. Obviously, you consider the fact that they're on the road. It's been a long couple of days for the Golden State Warriors in San Francisco, probably ready to go home. But, you know, you need him to be sharp and continuing to be himself as he's been these last couple games. When he's struggling, it really helps if you're going for the Golden State Warriors. Simple as that. And that's what I was saying in the previous game. You know, when you're taking into account what the overall experience is for the Boston Celtics, for myself, since I've been watching them, I think more times than not, I'm expecting Derek White to struggle. Now, he had been taking that out of the range. He's been continuing to play well over these last 4 games or so. But throughout the playoffs, generally he struggles. So if you can count on him to continue to struggle, that plays right into the Golden State Warriors' hands in terms of the Boston Celtics are not going to be able to keep up with them scoring. Now, if Derek White's getting 27 points, stuff like that, that's going to keep them in a range of being able to score upwards of 100, 115 points to keep up with them Golden State Warriors. So Derek White, his scoring is important. Grant Williams, his scoring is important. I don't expect Robert Williams to ever score, but if he can give you something scoring the ball, like Draymond Green, it could be a big deal. A couple dunks is all you need. So, yeah, I know this is silly, but it's not. Draymond Green, you got to hit your free throws, bro. I know they're not the greatest free throw shooting, players in terms of Wiggins and Draymond. You expect those guys to struggle from behind the arc percentage-wise. But in games like this, the finals, for me, in watching so much basketball, one of the things that I would say is really, really valuing those things throughout the meat and potatoes of your game. Because you get down the stretch of games and you miss free throws, and you're like, oh my God, we missed the clutch free throws, oh my God. But no, give just as much credence to the free throws in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and try to take advantage with the same intent and the same level of focus. Because at the end of the day, you want to take all your free shots in the NBA Finals. You want to take care of every possession. You want to maximize opportunities to take good shots because you're playing against great defenses. If you're either team, you know what I mean? That's what it really comes down to. So anything you can do to help your cause, you must do. Because functionally, both teams are going to force you into mistakes. You're going to be in situations where it's just not going to be within your control. Boston Celtics ran into that tonight. I don't know how many steals it was. I think it was 19, something like that. Golden State forced that. They forced that. So that's why I put such an emphasis on the rebounding. Because I know both teams are going to turn the ball over functionally. I know both teams are going to force turnovers because they're great defensively, functionally. So you work that into your equation, you make up for it on the other side. How do you make up for it? Boards, more possessions, offensive rebounds, snatching possessions. This is how you do it, drawing fouls, getting guys to sit down in foul trouble. That was another thing I saw tonight. The Boston Celtics found themselves in foul trouble. That's the truth. You know, we don't talk too much about it. I don't think too many people are going to talk too much about it. But in that first half, key players in that Boston Celtics rotation had to be removed from the lineup because of foul trouble. And that contributed to what you saw as well. You know, so, hey, hopefully for the Boston Celtics' sake, they'll get themselves some rest. They'll go back to the drawing board, try to figure out how they can stop, slow down that defense to the Golden State side and try to take care of the basketball a bit more. And just get more efficiency out of Jaylen Brown. He's got to get more efficient. It's great to attempt 19 shots, but if only 5 of them fall, brother, it's the lost possessions. So, type of stuff like that. Marcus Smart, 5 turnovers for Marcus Smart, and he's bricking. They can't overcome that. And he's not rebounding. They can't overcome that. Marcus Smart got to play better. So, that's what we see. That's what we see, man. Nice little blowout. If you're a Laker fan like myself, you breathe a little sigh of relief because I told you guys I didn't think the Golden State Warriors could win this series if they lost this game. They could not. Now, this gives them cushion. They got the split at home. If you happen to drop 2 in Golden State, you're headed back to your house with still a victory in your hand. Maybe you win that game, tie the series up. It changes the entire trajectory of the entire series just from winning 1 game. Now, you can breathe. You don't expect to have to force yourself to win in Boston. Maybe you get a victory in Boston. Boston's known not to play well at home. Keep an eye on that. But ultimately, this makes you feel a lot better if you're me. So, that's what I got to say, man. That is exactly what I got to say. Steve Kerr wins this one. I like him calling the numbers of Bjelica and GP2. I think that's a recipe for success. Bjelica is a good offensive player. He's good, man. He makes good plays for others. He hits his shots. He's smart and he's big. And I like using him. I like the idea of using him because he's going to make your ball movement good. He's going to make your spacing good. And he's not going to try to do too much. He doesn't force stuff. He doesn't look like a guy who doesn't play smart most of the time. He's not going to be too great defensively, but you're not asking him to be. You just need him to go down there, be big, stretch the floor, and make a couple plays for a couple other guys to sit back down. And that's exactly what I'm seeing him do. Good stuff. So, I have yet to see Jonathan Kuminga in this series. I kind of lend myself to thinking that he's going to struggle in a series like this because I saw him have such ball handling issues in the previous series when the defense really pressed up on him. He was turning the ball over. He didn't look good. So I'm not really mad at Steve Kerr not playing him in this series because I look at those defenders and I say they're going to force him into issues. He's going to have issues. So normally I'd be like, yo, you're missing an opportunity to play Kuminga. You can get a lot of easy buckets. But in this series, I'm like, nah, you're going to see him turn the ball over a lot. You're going to see him get frustrated. I don't think this is a series for him at all. I really don't. I could be lying. I could be wrong, rather. But I see him struggling a lot against the Williams guys. They're going to give him trouble. So I like the Bjelica. I like Bjelica a little better in this series for just, vet purposes. I think he'll take care of the ball a little better. Yeah, man. Good stuff. I enjoyed the game, or at least 3/4 of it. And I'll tell you something else. Aaron Naismith played great in garbage time, man. Aaron Naismith has shown me some things in these playoffs. It tells me maybe he shouldn't be a guy just only in garbage time because I've seen him block some shots, and now I've seen him make plays for others, and now he's showing me he has multiple things in his arsenal on both sides of the floor. So it's like, oh, okay. And then you look at his player profile, and he shoots threes. That's his profile. He's a three-point shooter. I'm like, wait a minute. I ain't seen this guy hit a 3 yet. So you're trying to tell me that Aaron Naismith is supposed to be a designated shooter, and the only things I've seen him do is play defense and pass? Oh, no. No, Udoka, you got to play that guy. You got to play him. Now, I'm not saying you got to play him now, per se, but next season, he needs a role, bro, for sure. So that's what I got to say about that, man. It was good, actually. It was good watching garbage time of these Celtics because I don't know who's on the back of their bench, so I got a chance to see some of those guys, and I think with the minutes that they got, I actually thought they played very well. So that's what I'm going to say, man. Klay Thompson, I like what I saw from him defensively. If I want to point out something good, he did some good things contesting. So if he can get better defensively, start getting his legs underneath him on that side of the ball, then he could really contribute regardless of his scoring or not. Because we know Klay, one of the reasons why he's the great Klay Thompson is not because he's a fourth, fifth greatest shooter of all time. It's because when he was in his prime, he was also probably seventh, eighth best on-ball defender in the game. So you got to respect what he can do on both sides of the floor when he's right. And we saw some good Klay Thompson defensively in certain sequences. So that is something to point out. Other than that, man, that's pretty much what I got to say, man. 30 minutes given to this particular game, too. I like what I saw out of both teams ultimately. I don't think Boston should hang their head. Just get some rest. That's what I would tell the Boston Celtics. Get some rest. And look, because this was a blowout in that third quarter, you got some rest. See, that this is one of those situations where, no, you're not happy things went the way they did, but it's not like things didn't fall into place in a different way. You didn't play in the fourth quarter. A lot of your most important players who need to be sitting their butts down did not have to play during basketball time because of the score. So, hey, if you have to lose, you'd much rather know that your guys got some rest in a loss like that, rather than having it go into triple overtime and everybody's exhausted and you still lost. This is the kind of loss you can do something with because you're rested. So, take it for what it's worth. That's the silver lining I got for you, Boston. Either way, that's what I have, man. Great game too, everybody. BDF 44. I thank y'all for watching. I'm out.